February 18th, as we sit here, of course, we are another week, another down week there is in the markets and for Tesla. We have some, I don't know if you want to call it breaking news, but I just saw on Discord, some of the Juju Gang members were posting this. Let me pull this up right now. 858, by the way, sitting on Tesla. Let me know if my audio is coming in clear. Mark, Harry, Lewis, Great American. Awesome. I see you guys chatting already. Okay, so the breaking news, well, I mean, not breaking, but tweeted about 5 minutes ago from Gary. Gary's saying there appears to be a strong chance Austin opens next week. And then Sawyer also confirmed, well, I guess confirming the rumor. Yep, more and more signs we're getting closer. So, take that with how you want. I think when the cranes started to leave, oh, wow, we're pumping, folks. Well, I think when the cranes started to leave the construction site, that was probably our first clue. Let me read some of the chats coming in here. Awesome. Gonzalo, how's it going? Loud and clear. Thank you. Lou, how's it going? Let me know. Mark, thanks for becoming a member. Thanks for joining. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from, city, state, country, whatever you guys feel comfortable sharing. Happy Friday to you too, Harry. Marco, how's it going? Too many fails, Marcus. Tyler, Johnny, Minnesota here. Bulgaria. Be safe. Denmark, Germany. Awesome. 860 on Tesla. So we're rallying a little bit here. I got CNBC pulled up. Should we need to pull that up? Remember, high of day today is 886. A quick summary on the day that we've had so far, in case you want it. Essentially opening at highs. It's looking like a U, more of a V or I guess you could probably call it a U-shaped recovery for now. A couple things to take into consideration that I am today for close. Do we get short covering in this hour? One thing to keep into consideration, there's a lot of Russia-Ukraine noise out there for sure. But if today was mostly short-driven, meaning people piling in, hedging, shorting, then maybe logic dictates, and perhaps that's partly what we're seeing now, our 12 o'clock algo kicking in. Do those shorts cover before close? Or do the shorts pile back into close, and then we have a pop? Because remember, Monday, it is a holiday. So there is no trading day on Monday. Let me read some. Sweden, how's it going? John from Seattle, Los Angeles. Cupertino, Allen, Texas, nice. Switzerland, Denmark, exotic Seattle. I think we're playing the Kraken pretty soon there, Michael. Netherlands, Geneva, nice. Folks, we're bouncing here, folks. Let's get the Juju going. If you're new here, I have no idea what the Juju is. Any sort of citrus will do. That brings us to good luck, apparently. I don't know how, but it hasn't been working, so maybe it'll make up for it today. South Carolina, Germany. Jason, how's it going? Jason says, what's up, Juju Gang? By the way, thanks for everyone, all the new Juju Gang members that we've had on Discord this week. Remember, if you're going to join Discord, bring the good Juju in there. It's essentially, it's a nice place to have a good conversation with other Tesla bulls that want to talk Tesla. Lebanon, wow. South Carolina, Southern California, Regina, Fort Lauderdale. There we go. Wow. Tel Aviv. We got people from everywhere. Schmelly, how's it going? Sweden, Virginia. Mimi, how's it going? Just started snowing in Sweden, says Mimi. Wow. South Africa, Paco, how's it going? Ireland. All right. First Juju consumption incoming. All right. 860, 165 sitting on Tesla. Let's go through kind of the gambit of what we got going on. So that was one thing to take into consideration there. Just refresh to see if he hasn't said anything else. Let me see here. Okay. Nothing new there. Again, I talked about this I think the beginning of this week. It's all a blur at this point. This market, I'm going to talk about macro in a second here, but I talked about that 930 level, right? And I talked about the 930 level to break, and clearly we did not break that. So 950, for everyone saying 950 was the level, it really wasn't. It was 930. And as we sit here, I guess it's come down a little bit. Now it's, if you want to say 920, rounding up a little bit, that's the next level to look at. But sitting here at 858 doesn't really make sense to talk about that level for now. Pulling up the options algo score real quick here. Let's pull this up. Let's change this to a 30-minute. There's still a bullish divergence on the options algo flow. Again, this is TradyTix if you want to check them out. Link in the description. They are, the net options algo score is showing closer to a 915 kind of target at the moment. 915 if you want to call it that. Let's see here. What else? I said a lot of puts closing today, mostly some volume and options, open interest, heat map. Implied volatility, folks, continues to go down. Implied volatility continues to go down. This is the fifth day in a row implied volatility has hit new lows in the last couple months. And we're pretty much back to, like I said, October implied volatility lows at the moment. So take that into consideration. I'm sure you guys already know that. 860. Steve, how's it going? Australia, Virginia, Utah. There we go. Okanagan, Tesla guy says eating 2 grapefruit. Hope this helps. There we go. Awesome. So here's what to consider, I guess, macro speaking wise for a hot second. With VIX sitting at $27.54, it's going down a little bit here actually on the 1 minute. What I've learned a little bit with, just my humble perspective on macro and geopolitical risks and, if you want to call it dips, often I think it's harder to project what's going to happen than to just broaden time horizon. I think in these times, everyone likes to have their own take of what's happening, and that's totally fine. But, this kind of reminds me of, what was it, someone remind me, was it 2017 or 2018? I forget what year. No, maybe 2018, when North Korea was testing all of those missiles and VIX was at highs back then. And, it was the going narrative for 2 or 3 weeks. It's better to just zoom out, have a longer term time perspective during these times and just consider these times chop. So unless you're going short volatility, unless you're trying to collect volatility, or I guess maybe if you're trying to front run, maybe you're trying to go long volatility on trades, it's just a hard market to have shorter term positions on, of course. It doesn't take a genius to say that, but just have a longer term time horizon, if I can just suggest that out. Get Tesla economists back. Yeah, maybe soon. I know Lee's an awesome guest. Lee's awesome. Vern, how's it going? Brutal week. Yes, indeed. If you look at the weekly candlestick, I mean, we are green. We are red. For us to finish green on the week, we'd have to close above 860. What is it? 862.54. So, I guess there is a world in theory where we could finish green on this week, believe it or not. But definitely nowhere near high of week, which is 925. So, yeah. So 3-day weekend. 3-day weekend. Let me know. Okay, let me know in the chat what you guys think. Do you think the 3-day weekend helps the market cool down a little bit to put maybe a lot of this, geopolitical news behind us, or do you think it exacerbates it on Tuesday? Let me know your thesis. Up, down, whatever it might be. Any collab with Farzad in the works? I've so many people in the Gigi Gang have posted his videos. Awesome stuff. I haven't watched too much of it, to be quite honest, but he looks like an awesome guy. Super awesome channel. I haven't received any sort of message about collabing with him at the moment. And I'm just so behind on watching videos that I haven't gotten around to it. But super awesome opportunity, I think. The market should just set down for a year. Well, in theory, the markets can trade flat, right? Stocks go up, stocks go down, but stocks in the long haul can stay flat as well. Great American says, I don't like 3-day weekends. Mimi says, I think so. I think you're saying it will calm stuff down. We're just saying it all depends on Ukraine. Yep. Todd's saying it helps. Yeah. Exacerbate it. Yeah. Well, okay. So here's the thing, right? We're even reading the chats. There's, I don't want to say we're at peak uncertainty, because I think during this year, the year is not even 8 weeks old at this point. And I feel like we've already had so many ebbs and flows of uncertainty coming through. But even looking at the chat, just uncertainty galore at the moment, and even personally, right? And so during these times, it's really just, tossing up a coin, figuring out where we're going to go. Let's just name out some of the headwinds that we got. So we got all of this Russia-Ukraine talk, which some might say is posturing, some might say it is scary, which indeed it is. You can have your different takes on that. Then we got the Fed fund rate potentially increasing, well, probably very likely increasing in March. Question is, how does inflation react post that? On top of that, we got supply chain issues everywhere, right? You talk about not only just chips, everything, even locally. Supply chains are a mess. So those are our headwinds. Ironically, it's the headwinds that are being priced in, but the question really is now, how much are those headwinds already priced in, if at all? And if you think they're overpriced in, could we see what some are calling for a relief rally, let's say next week? Who's to say what happens? I guess we'll look at the options order flow to end the day and see where big money is going. So I got some Tesla news as well about their batteries. I'm just going to... Let's see here. 860 on Tesla. Let's see here. Okay, let's pull up Chrome. I'm going to pull up some Tesla news. Oh, not this one. Actually, I did tweet it out. Let me just push this up. So Tesla's saying celebrating our 1 millionth 4680 battery cell in January. And so on the surface, you're like, oh, great, 1 million. That's a lot. 1 million is estimating about 1,000 standard range pluses, I believe. It's 1,000 standard range, right? Not long range. So let's say 1,000. Let's say 1,000. So you can obviously say, okay, well, that's only 1,000. Cato Road's been on for, over a year. Is that a lot? I think a couple things to take into consideration here. A large portion of, let's say, a little bit over a year that Cato Road, actually it's been almost, a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, Cato Road's been going on. It's something to take into consideration is a large portion of that time likely has probably gone towards a lot of the fixed costs that happen with assembly. A lot of batteries that you have to throw out because they don't meet quality control. And so you talk about exponential growth curves. I think the biggest thing to figure out is what's the run rate that Tesla's having right now with 4680s out of Cato. And then the second thing also to realize a little bit is Cato Road is and probably always will be a pilot production plant, right? It's not supposed to be full scale. So importing that into Austin, and of course we don't get this information from Tesla, so we have to kind of read in between the lines from what we have. So, of course, it's good to see that, at least I think the market, by the way, 1,000 is nothing to sneeze at as well. GM would probably kill for 1,000 a car's worth of battery, a 4680. So, it is what it is, but perspective. Let me read some chats here. John, happy you're here. No, about 1,000 batteries per car. Let's see here. Mimi says, but Cato Road has been trying the best way to ramp up production. They haven't been producing cells the whole time. Exactly. And even when they probably have been, let's say they're smaller scale, they're trying to test quality as they go through. That's the big thing to look at is how they can import that into Austin. Okay, so next thing. Elon Musk's SpaceX, CNBC says, to split its private stock 10-for-1. So this news came out just about an hour ago. SpaceX is splitting 10-for-1 from $560 a share to $56 a share. So I don't, here, I'll zoom in a little bit here. I don't exactly know the motivation or the intentions behind this. I mean, it could be, it's probably nothing. I mean, it's probably better not to look into it too much. But splitting 10-for-1 at 560 is, I mean, it's at least an interesting move if you're maybe looking for liquidity. I don't know exactly the motivation. If you're looking for liquidity, maybe you can sell a portion of your shares. But if you're looking for liquidity and you're a accredited investor, you probably have invested a lot of money already into SpaceX. So I think liquidity taking out is probably easy enough for you. So I'm not entirely sure. Maybe something to do with employees. I'll just kind of, you guys can throw in your theories in the chat. Zenon says they need to go public. Yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't hold that breath. Gail from Austin saying Tesla and Giga Texas have now achieved a major milestone within the last 24 hours. Over 100 newly produced Model Ys have been staged on the south end, ready for pickup/transport. At least 60 have already moved off of the site. And here's some photos here. Let me move my head here. So here's some photos that they've put together of the Model Ys. And they're all covered up. I'm guessing these are probably covered up to prevent a lot of dust buildup on these, which could signal that they're customer vehicles. Who knows? But also, I think it's important to realize we don't entirely know if these are fully finished. I mean, there could be some internal or some interior piece missing or something that they're waiting on parts for. There's just no way to know for a fact. I think that's important to take into consideration here as well. So, but we did see the Model Ys being shipped out of Austin on a semi. What was it, last week? But we don't know where they were going. So it's just so much mysteriousness around what is happening at the moment out of Austin. A split maybe for the SpaceX employees. Yeah, perhaps. I'm not going to pretend like I know too much about the inside baseball in SpaceX. But I mean, it's interesting. I think it's getting a little bit press, a little bit more press than I expected to. Okay, so the Kilowatts tweeted yesterday, just got a ride in an Uber owned by Tesla. Yes, you read that right. My Uber driver told me that the Model 3 he's driving is not owned by Hertz, but rather a pilot program being run by Tesla with a small number of highly ranked Uber drivers in California. He goes on to say, obviously take this with a grain of salt. One of us could have been mistaken, but I was asking pretty direct questions about who owned the car and who's paying the bill. Apparently, he only pays for supercharging and Tesla's providing the car free of charge for now. So I would take this with a grain of salt, like he says. I'm not entirely sure what Tesla gets out of partnering with Uber other than maybe sharing some of the fixed costs. We know that Tesla eventually with their robotaxi network have said that they want to have their own Tesla app for robotaxis. So, you could talk about an Uber partnership perhaps there. I'm not entirely sure. And then I was reading some of the comments and the tweets. People were saying that this has happened to them recently as well. So Lewis says it's true. I've heard this in LA. So yeah, Mimi says exploring robotaxi market. We don't exactly know. I'm gonna have a slice of orange here, but we don't know. First of all, we don't know. With all due respect to everyone tweeting this out, and I definitely trust but verify is kind of the motto that you have to follow a little bit. We don't know for a fact if this is Tesla doing this pilot program. Let's assume it is. Obviously, then at that point, it's probably some sort of robotaxi. And to the degree of how many pilot programs Tesla must do quietly, it's probably to the nth degree that we don't even take into consideration. So I'm not sure how much to read into this. So I'm not making it too big of a deal as of right now, but something to keep an eye on. Someone said this on our Discord yesterday, saying, the news headlines are quiet when this is the kind of stuff that we're having to talk about. Is just rumored stuff coming out. So, but again, I think it's important if it is true that we talk about it, but just no other information other than that. So we'll take that for what it's worth. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Bogdan says next week Austin Open. I talked about that Gary Black tweet in the beginning. Who knows? I'm kind of tired of saying that this is the weekend that Austin is going to open. This is the weekend. So I'm just kind of going to just leave it be, I think. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. Dan says Austin will open on the 1st of the month so they can spread the cost of production vehicles over a large number for the month. Again, I'm no accountant, but I think doing it intra-quarter would affect those numbers anyways. I think the only way that you don't is if you wait till the end of the quarter. Again, I don't fully know if that's true, but we'll see. But here's the good thing. We're seeing cars perhaps not being delivered right now out of Austin, but there's cars being built up there. There are more and more. The cranes have come down. Construction is looking very. It's coming along very nice. And remember, Austin started 6 months after Berlin, right? Was it 6 months? Maybe 5? Forget. Let's call it 6. 6 months after Berlin. So here we are, and Berlin is it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, at least for me, until middle of March. That's what everyone's saying. So I'm just going to leave it until then, anyways. We were having a conversation about this on Discord as well, and some people were saying, well, look, it's probably better that a lot of this good news, Tesla could just pile up cars in the time being, announce that they're open once macro sorts itself out a little bit. I think the biggest thing is I think there's two parts here. One is earnings per share on Tesla as a company. How does obviously Austin and Berlin affect EPS for this quarter, for this year, and of course for next year massively? I think the biggest thing is we want to see how fast these factories can scale. I am not putting expectations for either one of these factories to ramp up as fast as Shanghai did. I think that's not a healthy perspective to have, at least for me. But EPS is going to grow. I think that's pretty indisputable. I mean, Tesla. The more cars Tesla can make, the more cars Tesla will sell. And so the demand side, not worried about. It's the multiple side that we can have a conversation on. Stefan, welcome. How's it going? Appreciate you. It's the multiple side that we can have a conversation on, I think. So, we talk about multiples, and let me know in the chat if you guys want to talk about multiples. I don't want to go too deep into it in case we want to bore too many people. But it's really like, what PE multiple is Tesla going to get? And I know PE is antiquated. We can look, but really got to look at forward PE to have that conversation. What's fair valued, what's not. But that's really the conversation across the market, is the slapping of valuation, slapping of multiples that's happening. It's not necessarily that the market or the street think that any car that Tesla makes now, they're not going to be able to sell, or that the amount of cars that Tesla first forecasted for in January, they're not going to be able to produce now. I don't think it's that. I think it's the multiple. We'll get that soon enough. Hopefully. Gray America says, just let all the bad news pile up while the macro market is down, and get it out of the way. Release the good news when the market's better. Yeah, I don't think Tesla, and that's really exactly what I'm saying. But at the same time, of course, we realize that Elon and Tesla do not care when to release news, as we probably know. But yeah, for sure. So, okay, so daily, let's talk about price action for a hot second in terms of where we can find support. We're now trading below the 150 moving average again. Again, we lost that yesterday on yesterday's close. So we essentially almost retested the 200-day moving average today, which is at 830. Low of day is 837. I don't think you can call it a full retest of the 200-day. And that's why I think until we really reclaim that 150 moving average at 896, it's probably imminent that we at least touch that 200-day moving average, barring some sort of massive macro reversal. But I also think it's important to realize and to have take into consideration how much of an effect macro markets have had. So I'm going to overlay here for a hot second. The yellow line is the NASDAQ. And then, of course, the candles here. The candle. Oh, hold on. What am I doing? There we go. And the candles here are Tesla stock. So overlaying, you can see it's of course pretty well correlated. The only time it really wasn't was maybe towards the end of the month, beginning of the month, where the NASDAQ was rallying a lot more than Tesla was, and Tesla was seeing weakness. But for now, it's kind of going in lockstep as we continue to just stutter downwards here, essentially, and really have no conviction up. Definitely have some conviction on the downside, but it's not massive amounts of downside conviction. It's more like chop to the downside, continual chop to the downside is kind of the way that we're going about it at the moment. Vasil says, how does a 10-year yield affect Tesla? Well, that goes back to our multiple conversation. And I saw a chat here saying, where was it? Where was the chat? I think it was digital. Yeah, saying 70 times would be a reasonable multiple PE for a company that grows this fast and is profitable. Well, if you follow, like, for example, like Peter Lynch, right, and or if you follow just the PEG ratio, having a 1-to-1 ratio between PE and EPS growth. And EPS growth, or and in this case, EPS growth is a little bit It's harder to dictate right now for Tesla because it's just so massive, right? Because EPS growth was from nothing just a couple years ago to now finally going positive. Let's just take up revenue growth or top line, right? 80%, 87% delivered growth. 87%, if you ever want to have a one-to-one, you can bring it down to 70 or whatever it was, quarter over quarter. I forget the exact number, but it was over 60, over 70. We can have that conversation for sure. So yeah, I think that's probably reasonable. But again, in these times, those kind of conversations only really pan out in the long haul. And by long haul, I even mean like a couple quarters worth of earnings data. Right now, every institutional trader, portfolio manager is trying to figure out, how do I hedge my position and of course, a lot of people in the chat as well. How do I hedge my portfolio properly enough? How, do I have enough stops? Do I have enough cash to be able to buy more dips? Do I anticipate, getting margin called if something happens? Like, there's a lot of considerations, especially with big money at the moment. How do I anticipate the Fed reacting? How do I anticipate inflation reports coming through? There's just a lot of uncertainty in the market, but that's why we just got to zoom out, have a longer term time perspective. I was looking through James Stevenson's Twitter, awesome 69 tweet Twitter thread. Let me know if you guys follow him on Twitter. Great follow. And he was forecasting about a $7-something non-GAAP EPS and or quarter four of this year, $7. So annualized, that's about 28. At a 50 PE, it's about $1,400 a share. Or of course, rough numbers, rough calculations. It's not like I've come up with the $7 EPS, but just taking into consideration how high, and again, this depends on Austin and Berlin for sure. So, did I watch Chicken Genius's moon phase theory? Yes, Alex, I did. I watched it this morning. You know what? One thing I really love about Ken's videos is how short they are. And sometimes I wish they were longer for sure, but whenever I see a new video come up and it's like 25 minutes, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I have the time. But whenever one of his videos pop up, I'm like, it's 3 minutes. Like, just double speed it, move on. I'll finish it through. So what do I think about the theory? I don't know. I don't know exactly if I buy into the whole moon theory. Human psychology does play a big portion into it. Correlation doesn't equal causation, of course, for sure. So, but hey, if it works, it works. And who am I to knock it? So Ken's hilarious. I also noticed that he put his mic on his straw today. So let's see here. Yeah, Ken says very negative sentiment right now from everything. Yep, for sure. Did I watch Kathy Wood on CNBC yesterday? I watched clips. I didn't watch the whole thing. I was hoping I would do a reaction video on it, actually. Yeah, I should pull that up. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, 1228, and Tesla's currently sitting at 857. Does anyone want some tea? No, I'm good. Oh, where's my coffee? Oh, I left my coffee. Whatever. I'll have another orange here. Kathy dumped her Palantir shares yesterday, like 5 million or something after the interview. I'm not sure entirely. I'd have to double check to see how much of that was based on net outflows on her fund. Again, I think it's important to realize with ARK, just because they sell shares doesn't mean that they've lowered the percentage holding. It could just be a massive amount of people holding ARK-K or shorting ARK-K contribute to a large portion of outflows out of the fund. But you're right, with the amount of shares that she sold, it almost was, I was almost leaning towards that, okay, well, perhaps she's lowered her percentage as a choice here. So, yeah, STC, great point. Chicken Genius's point was buy the dip, sell the rip strategy is inferior to buy and hold. Not only, and he showed that statistically, not only that, but I mean, take into consideration stress management as well. This is one thing I guess I'm learning the hard way, of course, like we all are. We're all trying to improve. The stress management as well. There's times when, in your life when you're happy to take on the stress of doing a lot of that sort of stuff and watching the markets. I've just been so busy in the last couple of weeks, but watching the markets every single, let's say, hour, having sell orders or buy orders ready, or having trailing stops and all this sort of stuff. Of course, if that's your if that's your way to generate alpha, go for it. But there's sometimes when you really can't focus on that sort of stuff. And that's why I think having core shares, core ETF, whatever it might be that is easier for you. One thing's for sure. If you want to prevent a drawdown, Tesla's probably not the stock. Tesla can have massive drawdowns, as we know. But of course, Tesla's kind of unlike any other mega cap that there is. So, if you want to prevent drawdowns, probably ETF is probably what you need. But, maximizing growth is not easy, especially during these times when, rates are going to go up, uncertainties is everywhere. So, yeah. All right, 854 is sitting on Tesla. Let me just make sure nothing new has come up here. We got some negative gamma exposure. I did probably the most at 850. So again, 850, and I think we've kind of seen this today when we first hit 850, and we hold on one second, right around here. So we ripped through 850 the first time. If we retest 850, we're probably all the way down. Again, we're going to probably be doing our Tesla closing price guessing game we will be doing it in 15 minutes. Mark coming in clutch every single stream. Appreciate you, Mark, my friend. Hit that like, he says. Thank you for the donation. Great American says, to me, buying the intraday dip and selling the intraday rip is the best way to take stress out of watching your money lose value every day. Fair enough. Yeah, you have to find what works for you. 850 here, or 851.50. Looks like we want to retest that 850 level here. Whatever works for you, and everyone has their own goals. That's one thing I don't get is when people are on CNBC, and my dad, I tell this to my dad all the time. He loves watching CNBC. I don't know what he gets out of it entirely. He just loves it. He signs up for CNBC Pro, and he knows about the stuff that's said on there, and how a lot of it he thinks I think is baloney and all this sort of stuff. But he just loves watching it as entertainment. And I'm telling him, I'm like, Dad, these guys don't have the same goals, portfolio goals as you. So when they come out and they talk about a stock and they really like it, they can have entirely different motivations than you. So yeah, Dan says, what do you think about Ford splitting out the EV business from the internal combustion engine business? So they're basically following what Jim Cramer said. Do I think it's a smart business decision by Ford? Yes. I think they realize that the baggage that they have on their legacy OEM brand and financials is hard to overcome. By splitting out their books, having a separate division or company for their EV business, they're going to immediately generate a premium on the market. So in that case, in that respect, it's quite a smart, savvy business move by them. That doesn't change their prospects, though, in my head. Meaning, that doesn't all of a sudden grant them a million cars worth of batteries, right? That doesn't grant them the production facilities to be able to do that. So in that respect, nothing has changed. I saw Consumers Reports come out with... did you guys see that consumer report about the Mach-E? I had a friend, and SDC says investor/trader is a good strategy. Yeah, if we're only trading with a small percentage, absolutely. And that's kind of what the channel is built off of, investors that are also trading invaders. I had a friend post on his story yesterday, the Consumer Reports Ford Mach-E story, and say, told you, Tesla sucks. Legacy's already coming out, and they're coming for Tesla's throat. They're already building cars that are better than Tesla's. Meanwhile, Tesla's talking about FSD. And I had this moment of do I reply and start this thing, or do I just leave it be and let the free markets decide and fill them in? I didn't even want to bother telling him about the Ford connection on Consumer Reports. I didn't want to get into it. I just feel like, when you get into this, and let me know if you guys feel like that in your friend group, or if you meet someone randomly and you talk about, cars. And that's not to say the Mach-E is a bad car. The Mach-E is a really nice looking car. I think it looks nice, But the question is, are they going to really feasibly compete with Tesla at a large scale? Like, come on. At least if something can materially change, but come on. You got Mirage saying, I will get into it. Alex says, I call them out. Yeah. I mean, this guy, I haven't talked to him in a long time. Like, I haven't talked to him in probably like 3 or 4 years. It'd be really weird if I just all of a sudden hit him up and I just started coming at him, right? I think there's a degree of like, you have to be able to be cordial with people. So I just felt like in that moment, I wasn't going to be. Matt says I have to restrain myself. Yes. So, okay. Yeah, okay, too many fails. So some people will have their fixed ideas. You can't convince them otherwise. Exactly. And what I realized after, when I was talking to my other buddy about this, and he was saying, well, did you look at his LinkedIn post? And I didn't realize this, but he actually had posted on LinkedIn, out of all platforms, that he was short Tesla, long Ford, about a month and a half ago. So far, it's looking like a decent trade, at least on the Tesla side. What's Ford done in the last couple months? Yeah, so it's retreated as well. But at least one side of his trade, I guess he's made money if you were short anything. But at that point, I was like, okay, I kind of get the motivation. And that's not to say, because I think it's like, okay, if I'm long Tesla, can I not have objective thoughts against Tesla? I don't think that's true. So I think there's got to be careful with that double-edged sword there a little bit. Jeff, thank you for the donation. Ford needs to get it serious quick. Talk about new spin-offs, such nonsense, build the factories and get it going. Not only just the factories, right? I think Jordan Giesecke from Living Factors says this best. He says, or I've heard him say this once, is look at the raw material deals if you want to really look at the ability to make a lot of cars, a lot of EVs. The factory announcements are awesome, great, whatever, you're 7 billion, 5 billion in this factory, all this sort of stuff. But look at the raw material deals to see where they're actually going to be getting the supplies. Let's see here. Yeah. Sung says Ford and GM make over 90% of their annual profit after servicing and part sales. It's a printer and ink business. Yeah, that conversation was happening for sure in our Discord earlier this week, for sure. Actually, Troy just posted 851, by the way, on Tesla. Troy Tesla, like that is, just posted Twitter. 4680 cell volume is 5.48 times 2170 cell volume, and Model Y long range has 4,416 units of 2170 cells. So they'll need about 806 units of 4680s per Model Y. Oh, they're I stand corrected. I said 1,000 for the standard range. It's actually about 806 units for the 4680 for the Y long range. In the first month, Giga Shanghai produced 2,600 cars, which would require about 2.1 million 4680 cells. So they need to step it up. Well, again, this is about what we know from Cato Road. So people are already disagreeing in the comments. So take that with how you want. There's a pretty heated debate as well with, of course, if you've been around Tesla Twitter at all, you know that whole PR, non-PR debate with FSD and what's happening here. But we don't have to get into that as well. All right. So should we do our closing price guessing game now, or should we wait for 5 more minutes? Ganeshan says FSD should be made as an aftermarket product for all cars, make and model. Well, Elon has said as much. Elon has said that he's open to licensing out FSD, of course. I think when FSD actually comes into wide release and robotaxis are a thing for any OEM, I think that's why Tesla has pursued perhaps the camera strategy more than the LiDAR strategy. And yeah, we can talk about engineering and, when cameras and LiDAR disagree, who do you trust? And trust me, I'm no close to being an engineer on this sort of stuff, so I'm going to leave my non-expert opinion out of this. But just from a business perspective, solving that problem from a camera-only perspective gives you the ability to license that out very easily to a lot of OEMs. Okay. All right, let's wait 2 more minutes and then we'll play. I see some guesses coming in here. If you guess now and you win, like you should get double the virtual juju because you've guessed far ahead of anyone else. We'll wait a couple minutes. So save your guesses, take them, do whatever calculation you need to do to figure out what we're going to close at or what your guess is very soon. What do you think about NVIDIA? I think they're a great company. It's hard not to be bullish on a company like that. But do I own any? No, I don't. I mean, you talk about what everyone needs in this economy, it's chips. Like it's hard. It's like so. Plus, I bought a GeForce. What is this? 1070 Super 11. I don't even know what it is. 1650 Super or whatever for my PC. Pretty sure that's 1650 Super. It's a GeForce. Yeah, it's a NVIDIA chip, of course. Just wanted to confirm. All right, you guys are just guessing. All right, let's go for it. Leave your guesses. Leave your guesses in the chat, whatever you want, of Tesla. And remember, Tesla closing price guessing game follows the Price is Right rules, meaning you guess at or under, and you can win. If you guess even a penny over, you cannot win. And folks, we're rallying for what it's worth. For what it's worth, as soon as your guesses have started coming in the chat, Tesla's, rallied to $2 here. Does that qualify as a rally? Oh, well, I guess in this market it does. Okay, if you were wondering, volume weighted average price for the day is $855.79. Currently sitting at $854.30. Roll your guesses in. Roll your guesses in. Brian says, market tends to sell off on Friday at close, right? Well, Brian, first things first, it is an options expiration today, so that's one thing to take into consideration there. But another thing is, I think this week is a little bit off. And there's no general rule for Fridays, I would say. I'd say for Tesla's usually weak on Fridays, just anecdotally speaking. But you got to remember, if a lot of today's negative action was based on short selling, in theory, you would imagine some of the short sellers wanting to cover before close. Just a thought. Folks, we're rallying hard here. All right, give me a slice. 858. All right. I mean, does rallying $7 in 2 minutes count as a rally? I mean, for Tesla, normally it doesn't, but I think in this market, you just got to give it to me. All right, 857 on Tesla. If you're exactly right, you win $1 million in Monopoly money, says Mark. Yeah, Mark, exactly. All right. Let's go. CNBC is talking about energy. So I'm just going to leave that for now. Ganeshan says, Yashu, why is Max Payne prediction always wrong? What is the drawbacks of its computation? I think I have a video on Max Payne and why I don't like it. But yeah, I don't like Max Payne a lot. I know a lot of folks in the chat and a lot of folks in Discord do. But the reason why I think generally, if I had to sum it up in one thing, is Max Payne assumes that there's one market maker with one set of motives out there, and they're going to optimize for that each and every week. I think the market's more dynamic than that. I think the market doesn't just take into consideration. There's not just one market maker per stock. There's a lot of macro considerations. And plus, optimizing for every week is not always something that happens, maybe on a monthly basis. So just for that, but that being said, Max Payne was a very, I can't say perfect strategy, but it was a pretty consistent strategy in the summer of 2020. So, and every week I was saying, I don't like Max Payne. I don't like Max Payne. And meanwhile, we were closing right at Max Payne every single week with no volume. So take that with how you want. Trust me, in this market, we're already at Max Payne. It feels like it. It just feels like how does this hurt even more? Famous last words, right? Right before it starts going down even more. I hope not. Okay. Awesome, Craig. Grabbed your juju. There we go. Maybe says we need to start guessing 4 hours earlier next Friday. Yeah, so we can start pumping for sure. Song Happy Friday to you too. Michael says, I remember the day watching you when Tesla was hitting all-time highs in the morning when it hit $1 trillion market cap. Can't wait for those days to come back. It's so funny, Michael. It's like, in the grand scheme of things, that's only like, 3 or 4 months ago? Probably not even 4 months ago. So in the grand scheme of things, that was like yesterday. But the roller coaster ride that we've been on has normalized that to the degree where it's almost unhealthy a little bit, looking at our portfolios or looking at the market. And so now, yeah, when we look back on this, we're like, man, that was a long time ago. But really, it wasn't, right? 857. So Andy says max pain is where you're numb and can't feel the pain. Oh, man. Okay, 857, folks. So it looks like, if I had to guess here, I'm guessing a lot of short covering here. Actually, I think, let me pull up Trady Ticks here. I think Trady Ticks should be able to give us some insight. Okay, so Trady Ticks is showing the red line there are their puts, and it's showing in the last couple minutes here a lot of put closing happening. So not necessarily call buying happening, but a lot of puts being closed at the moment. If you wanted to microanalyze this move here a little bit here. Alex says, do you sell Juju stickers? I don't sell Juju stickers. I do sell Juju hoodies though. If you want to check that out, merch in the description. And then if you pull up the algo flow chart, this is the really short-term algo score. I mean, the algo line is red, meaning there's still weakness here. But if you pull up the 5-day, and then Faisal, I see you talking about it. Right there, we have about, what is this? I don't know, a little bit over $900 is kind of the target at the moment. Faisal says, sorry, I meant algo flows $8.79 for the 1-day trade ticks. Okay. All right. So there's some upside there, sounds like. Again, this is, by the way, like here, I'll pull up the cues again. Just entirely following what's happened. Remember, the yellow line there is the NASDAQ, and then the candles, of course, are Tesla. We're essentially just following macro. And I guess there's an argument to be made that like Tesla is a large portion of the NASDAQ, which is true. But I think there's a lot of macro considerations here. Like whoever's trading, like, overnight we'll get like some headline and it'll be like XYZ minister in XYZ country says this, and then futures will tank. And then the opposite will be said, and then futures will rip. Like there's got to be someone here taking advantage of those kind of moves. Like it's just massive, the amount of volatility that we're seeing. Michael says, Yashu, your Friday GG hour is like finding your corner man after a brutal round when you're there with a stool, cold sponge, and encouraging words. I appreciate that, Michael. Hey, I mean, we're all here together. The good news here is that Tesla is continuing to produce and to sell more cars and to increase their margins. And so that hasn't changed. The market conditions might have changed. Multiples might have changed. But that's not something that we can do too much about. Not that we can do much about the Tesla earnings growth either, unless you're an employee. But Tesla is showing strong fundamentals, and really during these times, that's what keeps you at least grounded in the, and that really should be the only thing that keeps your conviction in a stock is the fundamentals in the long haul. So Manuel says, I ate 2 Jujus and nothing happened. Do I need to eat more? Well, I would like to say that you need to eat more, but I only had 2 and I've run out of Jujus in the house. I've been eating a lot of Jujus this week, folks. I think next week I'm not buying this brand. No free promo. I'm not buying this Halos brand. I'm not buying it. I got to switch up the brand on the Jujus. I got to switch them up. Mark says, my Mac was recalled last night. Good joke. Alrighty. So a lot of guesses. I'm going to close. If you haven't guessed Tesla closing price already, we're going to close submissions here in a minute. Switch to lemons. You know what? I think I might have a lime, but I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Oh, my jaw's hurting just thinking about it. You got to go with the Maroc instead of the Halo. Okay, I'm going to have to do some Googling on that. Alex says Halo oranges are engineered not to have seeds for the kids. Really? So I've been eating some like GMO stuff. Is that what what you've been saying? I've been eating like some sort of weirdly contrived. Oh, it says California mandarin, so it's not like everything's GMO in our world at this point, is it not? What the heck? These oranges are coated in. I've never read this. Okay, it says it's coated in wax, in vegetable wax. What? Who knew that? Did anyone know that they coated these oranges in wax? Man. All food is GMO. Yeah, honestly. Eat the lime. I need the share price to go up. Yeah. No kidding. 855.83 sitting on Tesla. No new news. Hold on. Putin signed a decree on calling up reservists for duty. Okay. That looks like there's a headline hitting the Bloomberg terminal now. Let's see here. Anything else? Anything else? There was another piece of story here. Hold on, that I had. 42 says all fruits coated in wax. Okay, well, I guess I didn't do my DD on that. No, for sure. Interesting. I didn't know that. They coat apples in the wax. You know, I had a grapple, and this is probably like very fundamental for a lot of you guys. But you know, I'm more of a simple guy. I had a grapple at some point last year for the first time. You guys ever had a grapple before? Interesting. You guys know a lot about wax and fruits. This is I don't know if this is inspiring or if I should be worried. You guys know everything about these fruits coming in. Wax is natural and synthetic. Does that fit together in the same sentence? 854.75. Interesting. James says I studied wax studies in college. There we go. Thanks for hanging out, folks. At least I'm smiling. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, 854.14. Let's pull up the cues here on the 1 minute. Again, Tesla just following essentially the macro markets as we sit here. Let me pull up the 1 minute. Hold on. Tesla very much so just following what the NASDAQ is doing at the moment as we sit here. So take that into consideration. If we look at, if we pull up the cloud charts for a hot second, I just pull up where we can find some support. Resistance levels on the 10 minute, at least short term, really are 860, or let's say 870 on the upside, and then 880 past that. On the hourly, it continues to be that major one at 920. At 920. So 8 minutes here, and it looks like CNBC is talking about the Dow and the S&P. So we'll just leave that be right now. Oh man, you guys are too much. Do you think I could add a clock to my screen? I don't think I can at the moment. Something I'll take into consideration, but I'll tell you right now, we have exactly 7 minutes minus a couple of seconds left until close. Maybe I should get like the 1 minute countdown or something, or the 5 minute. Jen says, wax on, wax off. You get the reference. You are officially old. How about VIX on, VIX off? In this market, it feels like it's not wax on, wax off. It's VIX on, VIX off. Really. By the way, VIX sitting at $28.21. It's come down a little bit. I mean, it's come down from $29 in the last little bit here. But on the daily, we haven't traded under 20 really since like the second week of January. So it's just been a turbulent time. Of course, you don't need me to tell you that. All right, here we go. Oh, you know what? I didn't guess. Wait, did I guess? Did I? I don't think I threw out a Tesla. It's too late for me to guess now. I think it'd be considered cheating a little bit if I guess now with such an advantage. I'll leave it be. Whatever. It is what it is. Daniel says, thanks for the laughs. Hey, it's Friday on the long weekend. Life is great. Absolutely. Thanks for joining, folks. Cobra Kai all the way, Jan. Parody says, you don't have to be old to get Karate Kid references. Netflix popularized it with Cobra Kai. Listen, I'll say this. It's I'm probably going to get backlash on this, but listen, I've watched neither one of those movies. I don't watch movies. I haven't watched Star Wars. I haven't watched Harry Potter. I don't watch movies in general. I don't know. Just I guess I'll say I just don't have the attention span for it, which I know is probably not true because I can sit through other things. But yeah, don't hate me too much. It's not that I hate them, by the way, as well. It's not. My friends made me sit through Lord of the Rings in high school. Like they knew I hated sitting down for multiple hours and watching movies, and so they like forced me one weekend. We had like a boys weekend. They just forced all the Lord of the Rings movies against my will. So I know they're classics. I get it. Something is wrong with me for sure. I get that for sure. I get that. I'll take that. I've definitely had worse. So I don't know. I don't know. I just like being out and about. I don't really like sitting down. I don't know. I'm just too antsy. I don't know what it is. What headphones? These are like super cheap Amazon knockoff Chinese brand headphones that I got like 3 or 4 years ago. I only really use them when I stream because I got to listen to things and my AirPods don't connect with my Windows really easily. So yeah, Mimi says, but some movies are really good. I get it for sure. And you're probably right. Maybe at some point in my life, I'll switch to becoming a movie guy. But until then, I'm just an outsider when it comes to movies. You guys know this. Lewis says, why watch movies when you can watch Canucks hockey? That's it. I can sit for 3 hours and watch hockey, 6 hours and watch hockey. But I can't do both. I watch a lot of hockey, though. I watch a lot of hockey. What do you do with your free time? Gurav, that's a great question. I watch a lot of hockey. Other than that, I have no life. So I guess you could say I work. Oliver says, how often do you visit the U.S.? The last time I visited the U.S., just because of the borders and everything that have been clused up here, was Dallas in 2020, February 2020. So you can imagine what happened right as I left at that point. Nishant says, got to step them up. I got the Logitech wireless. Yeah, I have Beats. I have Sennheiser. I just like with this, I need a corded option. That's the only corded option I have. So James. Oh man. Okay. Hey, curling's not that boring to watch. I'll just throw that out there. Okay, let's focus, folks. 3 minutes. Last 3 minutes of the trading week. Some can argue this is the best time of the week. It has been in the last few, at least. But here we are. It looks like we're probably gonna put in a red candle in the week. This is the weekly chart here. Remember, 862 is the level for us to go green on the weekly. I mean, barring some sort of huge rally here in the last little minute, don't think it's probably going to happen, but we're finishing with a pretty indecisive candle this week. So here we go. Got 2 minutes left here. I did not place a guess in. I'm going to pull up the chat to make sure I know who's right on the closing price guessing game. Here we go. Okay, I got all the chats ready to go. Yeah, I have watched Wolf of Wall Street. Oh, I have watched that. Yes, I have. The Big Short, I believe I have read. I've read it, I think. But that was so long ago at this point. I don't even remember. I probably can't even say that I've read it at this point because I don't remember if I read it. Okay, let's go. All right, remember, Monday. Oh, shh. Hold on. I got to make sure all my options are not expiring. Hold on one second. Someone didn't remind me this week. Usually you guys are pretty good at reminding me. Okay. Just have a worthless Disney call that I bought like literally right before earnings that I forgot about. Okay. We're good. Should be good. Remember, check if you have anything expiring for this week. And yeah, Monday is a holiday for the trading week. So take that into consideration, buying shorter term stuff. You have a minute here to place your trades. Let's make sure. Okay. All good. All good. Gary Black is tweeting stuff. Alex, I'll take a look right after market close here. We have 30 seconds left as we close the markets. 856.32 sitting on Tesla. Jason says green count until 900. Just like S&P inclusion day, right? Remember that? Remember the candles that we were seeing on S&P inclusion day? Okay, so hey, we're finishing about $30 from highs. could have been worse. Could have finished $60 from highs. So, oh yes, indeed. 857 on Tesla. There it is. There's the closing price. And let's see who has won our Tesla closing price guessing game. Tesla officially closed at 856.98. Give it a second here in case it wants to change up on us. Someone want to confirm that for me, that is in fact the closing price on your end as well. 856.98. I feel like this is a hard one. I'm not sure who got this. Jason came pretty close at 856.56. William, close. I think our winner here is Jason Pawson. 856.56 is what he guessed. Only about 40 cents off. Congrats, Jason. Unless I missed it. I don't think I missed anything here. There we go. Yeah, this month, by the way, I'll pull up the tweets here in a second, but let's just take a look at the monthly candle chart. If you just want to talk about it, and I guess context matters here, but this is the monthly Tesla candle. Context matters for sure as to what's happened here. But hold on, is this the first? It's maybe the first month that we've closed below our 9 moving average, or 9-month moving average at 887. I think it came pretty close in May of last year, but this is the first real time that Tesla has closed, and I guess it opened June or July of 2021 below the 9 as well. But it'll be interesting to see. If you just want to talk about regular rallies, I mean, on a monthly level, this was a pretty healthy rally. Rallying overextended on any chart this far away from supply, reclaiming supply on the downside, letting sellers or traders wash out, and then resuming traction to the upside. This is a healthy rally. What I don't like entirely is on our monthly breaking that 9 monthly moving average. So Roku down 23%. What happened with Roku? Hold on. Let me pull up after hours trading here. Let's see here. I don't see. Oh, you're just saying in general. Yeah. Roku took a huge slap. By the way, Square finished below $100 a share. Palantir I should have added some Palantir today. I forgot. Maybe hopefully Tuesday. But $11 on Palantir. It's kind of getting nutty with how low these multiples are getting. So yeah, massively bad day for a lot of growth that does not have earnings power, especially. And that's kind of where Tesla at least can say that Tesla does. And of course, we have some catalysts waiting, but really, it's not healthy to be waiting on Austin on edge every single day. So just kind of got to leave it be. Jason, yes, you're going to get some virtual juju. I'll throw it your way right now. Congrats. One day I'll get a sponsor for this segment, and the sponsor will happily send the winner something. But until then, virtual juju it is. Awesome. Love it. Folks, thanks for joining me. I am glad that we could spend some time together and do what we do every Friday and just hang out. Obviously not the best week, or the best month is probably should say. But if you want to take some solace in the fact that it's not just Tesla related, it is in fact the entire market that is selling off on a technical level, of course, not strong finishing today. Of course, not even retesting our 200-day supply down at 830. So take that into consideration. Tom, thank you for the donation. Off topic, any chance you'd be willing to come on to the Allison Moreau podcast to discuss Elon's tweets on the situation in Canada? I appreciate the invite. Here's the thing, just candidly speaking, I don't feel like I'm fully informed enough on the situation in Canada and the political stuff that's happening. I'm happy to have a discussion with you offline, Tom. I just don't want to paint the picture that I know, and I feel like I have all the answers on all the craziness that is happening right now. But talk Elon, talk Tesla. I'm always happy to do that sort of stuff. But with the political stuff, I just like to stay away from a lot of that unless it's policy related for the most part. But Tom, we could talk offline. Shoot me a message on Twitter or something. Appreciate it. Much love everyone for tuning in, taking the time on our Friday to spend time with me on the channel, and hit subscribe if you're new here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Remember, every Friday I leave off with this spiel, and I'll leave out that this Friday is no different. Put your phones, computers, screens away. Spend some time away from all this madness that there is in the world that's mostly digital for a lot of us, thankfully, living in first world countries, and we should be thankful for that. But remember, safety, family, health, that really is what matters in the long haul. Prioritize that this weekend. Do what you need to do. Meditate, pray, offset some time, spend time with family, whatever it is. Reconnect with yourself. Go walk in the forest. Do whatever you need to do to recoup. I think long-term health, it should be prioritized as well. Do whatever you need to do. Much love, guys. Take care. Yesh signing off. And of course, have an awesome family day here in BC, in Canada, and a long weekend. That doesn't mean, by the way, that there won't be content out on the channel. So I'll have some time to put out content. Much love. Take care. And I'll catch you in the next one, guys.